Okay, so in this, I want to look at a user and labor supply model to do a couple of policy applications. And the first one I'm going to do is looking at the effect of disability payments, and we're going to show why they would have why they might be attractive for somebody who's in the borderline, and also why they wouldn't likely be attractive for anyone else. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So first of all, before I start, I would like to say there's definitely plenty of people who are receiving disability who have no other choice, right? They have a very serious disability that definitely does not allow them to work. Sometimes these are temporary, like for example, a very serious illness, and sometimes they are permanent problems that cannot be resolved. Okay, so we're not talking about that in this case. What we're talking about here is, I would say, somebody who's more on the borderline. Okay, so what I mean by the borderline, well, a person who's physically capable of working and probably would have definitely been working 50 years ago, but they have significant health problems, and working is probably not very easy or very comfortable, right? They may have pain, or they may have other kind of impediments that make work that make it hard to work. Okay, so I'm kind of calling this a borderline case because it kind of depends on how difficult or easy it is to access these disability payments on whether or not this person will. So they're not a clear-cut case of definitely this person can't work or definitely this person can work. They're sort of in this borderline. And there also are some people who might be committing fraud relating to these disability payments as well. So what we're just going to show here is, well, let's suppose you can meet the standard, right? So you're in this group. You can meet the standard, but you could also go to work if you had to. Okay, so somebody who can meet kind of the minimum standard to receive a disability payment, but they are also capable of working if they needed to. But working probably would not be, like I said, very comfortable or very easy for them to do. Okay, so let's suppose this person is here right now. They're working, and let's just remind you. So this is our leisure. So this is maybe 10 hours at home and 6 hours in work. Okay, so this is what they're doing beforehand. And then let's suppose you change the law. So they change the law to make the disability payment maybe more accessible. Okay, so let's think we're going to change the law. So how do we draw it in our graph? So some people might think, oh, it's going to raise this, but no, it doesn't change the wage because it doesn't affect the wage. What it is, it's got to be over here. It's got to be over here in this. It's got to be over here in this non-market income. Okay, it doesn't shift up the wage line like it did before because you can't get this in addition to working, well, unless you work illegally under the table. But this is instead of working, right? So this is something you can get only instead of working if we're assuming it's structured that way. So actually, the disability payment gets added on here. Okay, so this is the disability payment. This height represents how much it is. Okay, and so if they could qualify, and if there was no other thought involved, if this person could qualify, then this would cause this person would go from working to out of the labor force, right? They're going to move. Okay, they're going to go from working to out of the labor force because in this case, this person could be better off by not working. Now, I probably drew this a little wrong. It's probably not very likely that the disability payment would be larger than someone's earning, but for someone who makes minimum wage, it might not be that far off, right? It might be maybe a little smaller, but not far off. So maybe I drew this a little bit wrong, but you get the general idea. So if somebody has low wages, this disability payment might be quite attractive. And so therefore, if somebody does have fairly serious health problems that could qualify for this, maybe they've been injured before on their job, or they have heart issues or diabetes or some other kind of serious health problems that could qualify for this, then this might be attractive. Okay, so these disability payments are, if they become fairly easy to access or relative, or maybe fairly easy to fake, then to commit fraud, then it will become kind of attractive for very low income workers. So this would be people who have are close to minimum wage type of jobs. Now we can show you here using the same format is this won't be attractive at all for people who are high earners. Okay, so let's try. I need to make the chart bigger. Let's find somebody who's a high earner. Okay, so this person here is a very high earner. Okay, so much higher earner. So if I draw the same, and so like suppose right now they are working and they're also working more. So let's suppose this is 6 hours home and 10 hours of work. Okay, and then I put this same disability payment on here. So again, you can only get it if you don't work. That's why it's over here. And so now for this person, it's not attractive at all, right? This is very small compared to what they earn. And so they're not going to be attracted to leave the labor force. Now, if this one is going to have no effect. And this one is going to leave the labor force. Now, the person on the right, if they truly did get a disability that required that made there be no chance they could work, then this they would likely go and collect this disability payment. Okay, but that's only if they could not work under any circumstances. But it's not going to be very attractive to them, at least the way we've drawn it. Whereas somebody with a very low wage, it could be attractive to them. So this just illustrates if we're trying to look at managing the economy and keeping the labor force participation high, we have to think carefully when designing these programs and make it difficult for fraud to take place. And consider other ways, if the goal is to supplement people's income, also consider other ways to supplement people's income that don't have this effect of pushing people out of the labor force.